Welcome everybody this morning to the webinar hosted by the Central Florida International Trade Office on exporting fearlessly and getting to know the local District Export Council. Just in terms of a few admin notes, everybody is on mute. You have access to chat, and if you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A box, and then we'll get to them at the end of the more formal part of the presentation. And we will be sharing a copy of this presentation with you afterwards. So don't feel like you have to get every single note taken because you will have access to this at a later date. And so I would like you to join me in welcoming Karen Arnon of Hernan Manufacturing to talk about the Central North Florida District Export Council this morning. Karen was born in New York and raised in San Francisco, and she's a graduate of the University of California at Berkeley. Her career has always involved import and export, with just the goods themselves changing. And speaking of goods, Hernan Manufacturing is a manufacturer of high-performance adhesive, sealants, and digital processing equipment for aerospace, automotive, defense, ammunition, and electronics industries, just to name a few. And in 2015, Hernan received the President's Export Award, the Seminole County Industry Recognition Honoree, and the Sanford Industry Recognition, among others. So thank you for sharing your experience and expertise with us today, Karen. And maybe to start off with, you could share a little bit about, and this is before we get into the formal presentation, but if you could share a little bit about why you joined the District Export Council. And I think it's important for people to recognize that, unlike all the other speakers in this series who are talking about their jobs, being on the District Export Council is not Karen's job. The District Export Council is all volunteers, and so I think that might be a great way to start off your story about how you came to join the District Export Council and why you decided, with so many other things that call you with work in the day, that investing your time in the District Export Council was valuable.
Well, Hernan, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Hernan Manufacturing was established in New York in 1978, and we moved to Florida in 1990 for expansion. At that time, our exports were approximately 10% of our total volume. And in looking around to see where we could increase our sales and revenues, export, of course, came up. And as much as we could do for ourselves, it would take so much longer had we not contacted the agencies available to us by the federal government and our state government here in Florida. And actually, I believe it was the Small Business Administration group that started with our export marketing plan. We found them and we got together and they put together a plan for us, trying to figure out what markets and what areas would be best suited for us to try and do some exporting. And then through the state of Florida, we have these bold key events that you participate in, and there are grants for participation. And you can work with the pick countries and actually work with the commercial consuls in those countries and to set up meetings and to find distributors, whatever, depending on what your products are. We, of course, look for distributors. And to the point where 5 years ago, by 2015, exports are now 40% of our overall sales. And we export to 65 countries at this time. And it's ever growing. And it's just been a wonderful way to balance our sales and revenues. When there's dips in one market, you have other markets. And the world has been very receptive. There's a lot of things you need to prepare in the beginning to make sure that you don't enter a market prior to being ready to enter said market. And that's what this course will help you to define and figure out with your business and your products, where is your starting point. But I think you need to go to your local agencies and, again, find the person who can help you with this export marketing plan. And there is going to be a session within this course discussing that. And that really opens your eyes, I believe, to the opportunities out there. And it really, truly is becoming a global economy.
Okay, thank you. Now, do you want me to share the presentation, or do you want to
You can share it. And
Okay, let me bring that up.
this is my first conference. Yes, I mean, basically it's the U.S. Commercial Service and the District Export Councils that support American businesses, and it's a government trade promotion place with activities and professionals and offices all over the world to help U.S. companies trade with other countries. And we are here to help lend our expertise because most of our members are active exporters and are great believers in that and successful with it. So that's why we are promoting it. Again, it's an area to increase sales and exposure of your products or services in the world markets. And they have all the professionals, from writing your export marketing plans to helping you to decide what countries, to helping decide what roles within those countries you're looking to fulfill. We can go to the next one. And these are where all the decks are sort of, it's more of a regionalized network. And our District Export Council was a large Florida District Export Council, but Florida is a very diverse state, as are many, and getting larger and growing. So we decided to divide our decks, and we have the South Florida and then our North, Central, West District Export Council. We're all volunteers, and these people are exporting goods and services that are extremely diverse. Like we do adhesives and sealants, there are medical devices, etc. And we have various committees. We have a website, and if you want information, that information will be further within the program. And there are the specialists, again, from attorneys to just experienced people in various areas that are there to help and mentor your export challenges and experiences. And seminars such as this, I think are very useful because, again, the people presenting these seminars have actual experience. And I know that it can be a little scary to go outside the box that you're used to. But again, the world is out there and they are always open to new ideas and products.
I think what Karen has said there is very important insofar as the work that the District Export Council does brings a whole lot of different perspectives to helping a company to export. A lot of you probably work with the U.S. Commercial Service, with Enterprise Florida, with the Small Business Development Center, with Exim Bank, with the SBA. But all of us end up really being more advisors rather than people who can share our actual experience with the exporting process and how it gets done. And so that's why the work that volunteers like Karen from the District Export Council, who are actually engaged in exporting and who have had the same experience that you're about to have, where they had to get started somewhere, they had to learn along the way, and then they become comfortable doing it and comfortable growing through exports. So their coaching is really essential to helping make you feel comfortable exporting fearlessly.
And the fact is, most of these services are at no charge, and the fees that are incurred are direct fees to things that are actually going to make it happen for you. For example, the gold keys. And there are grants available that one can apply for trade shows overseas, etc. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel. you utilize the services that are here and available and the expertise, and then coupled with your knowledge of your product base, your customer base, etc., the opportunities are really wide open. For example, here you go, Florida business activities.
We've got, in terms of Florida origin exports, it's really worth about $58 billion to the States. And you can just see that the total number of shipments coming out of Florida, because we have such amazing ports, even exceeds that. And you've got nearly $100 billion passing through the state of Florida. And these are all activities that DEC members are involved with, because you've got exporters like Karen, experts on international trade like myself, or our executive secretary, who is the local director of the U.S. Export Assistance Center. You've got businesses who provide advice on the export controls, like our chair, Dr. Oz Khan Erdem. And you've got people who are working in the ports and in the third-party logistics sector. So you really are tapping into a network of expertise and experience that's really unparalleled when you reach out to the District Export Council.
It's invaluable. And this particular program will be very beneficial in helping you get your feet wet. Looking at exporting, you're a small company in a small town, and it can be a bit daunting. But again, anybody can do it if they have the proper guidance and knowledge. And that's what this whole course and certification is all about. And I find it very exciting that to open the eyes of business owners to other opportunities. Because it really has just been a great boon for us. And even in the recession, again, one market's down, another market's up. So it just kind of makes it a better balance and broadens just your exposure, etc. I've been just really just so pleased with all the people I've worked with. Everyone is so helpful and full of information.
And maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the programs we offer. I'll bring up the slideshow on the Global Trade Certificate later, so you can maybe say a little bit more about that at that point in time. But
okay, so we have like the gold keys and things of that.
Or no, just the ones that are done by the District Export Council. Like some of the outreach that the outreach committee is doing.
Oh, well, we have, mentorship. Anytime, again, our website is full of information. If you go there, if you have questions or whatever, you can contact, there's a whole list of our members, and their areas of expertise, and you can contact them for whatever questions you have regarding if it's ITAR regulations or just how to connect with the Department of Commerce representatives around the world and such. It's just a plethora of information. And that is the starting point. Familiarize yourself with it, find your little place or your contact, and just email. These are the, every one of these have afforded our company opportunities. And it's really, again, been a great boon. And of course, the export bank as well, if funding and that sort of thing, you have needs, again, information, small business, the chambers, the Enterprise Florida. I would assume that most states, I know there's a couple of people here from other states, have similar entities. The International Trade Office, these are just very supportive groups. And if you reach out, you will be amazed at the information that you can get and put your export to the front of the front burner and move forward.
Here are some of the other associations we work with. So we are not only working with people who focus solely on exports, but also partners like UCF, like Florida Makes, like the Manufacturers Association of Central Florida, Tampa Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation, who all understand the benefits of trade and work to help their members become better exporters, to grow their business, to manage risk by exporting.
They have all sorts of webinars and information available on their websites as well, and experts, willing and ready to answer questions that one may have regarding different, more specific items regarding exporting.
So this is our chair. I may not have mentioned at the beginning, I am not just here as the CFITO host this morning, but I am also the Trade Policy Committee Vice Chair at the District Exporting Council myself. So these are two of the key people to speak to when you want to get into the DEC network. And let me bring up the other slide. These are the people who, as you can see, Karen is the lead on working for this course, and I'll let her speak about the course outline.
I would just say, I wish I had a course like this when we started. It would have been very enlightening. I think the purpose of this course is to educate you on the opportunities and some of the methodologies that you should think about and look to getting involved with in preparation for exporting. You don't want to launch something when you're not really ready. And this course will give you a lot of information regarding a lot of aspects of it beyond just, packing a box and putting it on a ship and sending it somewhere, because there are a lot more things you need to figure out, the whys and the hows. And then also there are ethical and cultural issues which can affect certain product names, products themselves, different things. You need to have a plan. You just don't want to go out there sort of willy-nilly and have a bad start. And the research and risk assessment, mitigation, compliance, budgeting, these are all important factors. And I think just a little thought, and you'll sit down and you put your little thing together with the help possibly of the Department of Commerce people, small business, SBDC, Enterprise, Florida, or your other states. And I think that you can be very successful in a proper launch. This course will give you the knowledge that I didn't even know what to ask in the beginning. And so I think this will answer a lot of questions and make you feel more comfortable as you move forward to exporting.
And I think, as everyone can see here, these are some of the top issues that companies will need to look after. And so they've been developed into different modules that can be offered. And just to let people know, we had originally planned to offer this actually earlier in the summer. Then we tried for later in the summer, so around now. But with COVID, that had to make us pivot to trying to figure out, do we want to wait until this can be actually offered in person, or do we want to do this virtually? So right now we don't have the course scheduled. It's all set up. The DEC has worked with UCF to be able to provide credit for this. But hopefully soon you'll be able to learn about these different modules. And I'll pass it over to Karen to talk a little bit about each one. I just have one slide on each module, Karen.
Okay. A mission statement is very basic, because you really want to sit down and what is it that you want to do? What does your company, what's the purpose? What's the end result? What's your vision? How do you see exporting as a part of your overall plan? And once you kind of get that in your mind situated, I think then you move on to the next. But the mission statement is like why, how, and when. And then first of all, second, then looking at any possible ethical and cultural issues that could arise. Sometimes translations can be a little dicey. So it, that would also make you a little more comfortable in terms of going forward. And of course, ethical practices, because not everyone everywhere is as ethical as hopefully we are. And one must be prepared for that. In certain countries, certain things, there are certain expectations which we find appalling and unethical. So you have to be ever vigilant and aware of what's out there in the world that be negative. Planning and strategy. The first thing we were fortunate to have is that was the SBDC that did our export marketing plan, I believe, or Enterprise Florida, that helped us in the very beginning put together the planning and the strategy. And that really was the launching point. Once we had gotten there with the plan and the strategy, then we could pull further from the resources with various gold keys, trade show grants, etc. But you have to do your homework and make sure that you're ready, because also you want to be ready to produce whatever goods or services you're going to be selling overseas, and you don't want to really be caught that you have all these people who want what you have and you're not ready to actually get it there. Which also goes in hand with risk assessment and mitigation, to make sure that you have the support within your organization and with your other peripherals for this global activity to move forward and spread yourself around the world. And of course, compliance. They have various things, REACH, ROHS, different regulations that are slightly maybe different than ours. In Europe is a little different than the US or Asia or South America. So you want to make sure that you are in compliance with all of these things and your goods and services. Very often you might have to have your data in the language of the country, and technical issues and such. So that is a big part of it. You don't want to go over there and then have big fines or problems because you didn't know about some simple law or compliance that they require.
I think this will also look at the issue of really understanding the contracts that you're involved in, and to make sure that, first of all, what you've agreed to is what you're thinking you've agreed to, and then second of all, that you're actually complying with the requirements of performance under those contracts.
Exactly. And budgeting, you have to have a budget. With anything else, you want to make sure that you have the ability to support the promotion and project of what you're doing, and not get caught in midstream and then you can't move forward.
And that, I think, is the final module. So with that, I am going to come back to here, and do you have any final words you'd like to share on the District Export Council before we open everything to questions and answers?
Well, everyone has one, so I think everyone who even wants to think about any sort of exporting should contact them and talk to them and get an idea of where they might fit in the world. And I think that you will be greatly surprised at the benefits they will offer and the opportunities that will present themselves to you and your organization. And I think if you miss it, I think you're missing a big part of growth.
Yeah, another part that I think I would add as well is just how they can help you with advocating for yourself and understanding the trade policy environment. Because one of the issues that may come up is you might find there's a particular problem entering a market, whether it be a regulation that is really an undue burden on you and really unnecessary for protecting consumers in their country. And so you might wonder, well, where do I go with this? Well, one of the ways is to talk to the District Export Council, let them know what the problem is. They may have other members who've had that problem and can help you with solutions, or they may be able to counsel you on how to advocate for yourself in Washington with different trade associations, with different agencies, to make sure that your problem is brought to the attention of the agencies that actually work with that country to help trade work and flow more smoothly around the world.
It's very true. We have a long reach. We had assistance at one time. There was a problem in Asia with our intellectual property, and actually our Department of Commerce representatives went in and helped us take care of it right away. So there's long arms in all directions, and they're there for your support and help.
Excellent. With that, I'll open. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask Karen or me about the District Export Council? Well, just while we wait to see if any questions come in, Karen, what do you think is the best thing that you've gotten from your involvement with the District Export Council? I mean, how has Hernan Manufacturing benefited from working with the council itself?
Well, just even learning more about different countries and learning more about the rules and regulations. And because again, there are so many members who do so many diverse things and have run into many different issues. And so when you sit and have discussions, and again, it's comparing notes and oh, okay, so now I know to look out for that. Or I know that if I have a problem here, I can contact so-and-so, that sort of thing. It opens your eyes to a lot of things that you don't even realize. And it really impressed me that our government has this sort of thing going on that is so supportive to businesses in America. When they say we want to increase our exports, they're really standing behind it. And every one of these District Export Council members is very actively interested in exporting themselves and getting everybody else to export as well.
Yeah, and they're all really interested, as I sometimes put it, in spreading the gospel of exports. I mean, this is really a way, when you look at the 95% of global consumers and 75% of global wealth is outside the United States. These are people who understand that, who've been in your shoes, who can provide mentoring based on their experience in a whole slew of different areas. And you're always going to be able to find someone who's got the answer that you need at the District Export Council. Well, I'm not seeing any questions this morning, so that I think means that you have provided an amazing and complete overview of the activities of the District Export Council, Karen.
Well, let's put it this way. I'm on the website. If you didn't want to ask your question now and it comes to you later today or next week, I'm available. So please feel free to contact myself or any of the names on our website with any questions, and they'll be more than happy to assist you as best they can.
Well, thank you again, Karen, and thank everybody for joining us this morning.
Yes.
I'll remind you, one of the great things that you heard about from Karen based on her experience are the export marketing plans. And we heard a little bit last week about the grant program that's offered by Enterprise Florida to help make these a very low-cost tool for companies. And next week, we're going to hear from Noreen Alatar and Joe McLaughlin of the Florida SBDC at UCF about how they can help your company grow by figuring out which market that you want to start looking at. Because I think a lot of companies, they get enthusiastic about exporting, and then there's so many different opportunities. They really need help focusing on where they're going to get the best bang for their buck. And that's all about the export marketing plan to help you actually get that focus. So we're going to have some great experience next week.
And I can't tell you, those two gals have helped us tremendously. They were kind of the leads in our getting involved, and they are extremely knowledgeable and really write up your questions for them.
I don't think I could end on a better note than that one, Karen. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And I look forward to joining you all next week.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.